Insert that clip of the Bristolian woman going, "Another one?" No, it's not another one, because I haven't bought this car. You will be pleased to hear, Dad will be pleased to hear, and so will everybody else who shouts at me on the internet for buying too many Protons. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. This car you may recognise because it has featured on the channel before, a year ago. To be precise, and when I drove it like an absolute lunatic around the back roads of Lincolnshire with a massive smile on my face, loving life. Thanks to Clint, he saved it, he rescued it. £40 he paid for the car as part of a raffle with the Banger Boys. Thankfully rescued from the jaws of the Banger Boys by Patrick and his girlfriend Jess, who now daily drive the car. Come for a drive then, a year later, with an update. We'll have a look around the car because it's slowly being put back to, well, how it should be. And the reason Patrick's here today is because I've given him the original parcel shelf. More about that later in the video. And we'll take it for a spin, take it for a drive. I promise that I won't drive it like a lunatic today because it's nice and wet, but we'll have a chat with Patrick. Jess is going to come along for a drive as well with us too. An update then on this Proton Aeroback, thumbs down for Aerobacks, here today in Lincolnshire. So I'll give you a quick spin around the car before we take it for a drive today. Just wanted to show you the current condition, and considering it's a daily and considering it's been 10,000 miles last year, absolutely beautiful. Some good work done on the paintwork by Patrick and Jess. And one thing Patrick did tell me about, we've had a big old chat off camera, is that there is a pearl flip in the paint. And actually, I hadn't noticed that before, so I've learnt something about Protons today as well. Aeroback, we've got a brown interior in this, being the SE model as well. We've got a sunroof, which I'm not overly keen on, but it doesn't look like it's leaking, which is good news. You can do some QR coding on there as well if you're a posh person that does all that sort of stuff. We've got a nice red garnish at the back, but it's in really good condition. If you remember in the previous video, there was a little bit of rust around this back boot lid. It's been touched up and protected, which although it's not going to win any concours awards, it's absolutely stopped that from getting any worse. The sad reality is, to do it properly, you're going to have to take all this trim out, grind it all back, take the window out and paint it, and that is probably going to cause more damage to the car than leaving it like that. So nice to see that that's been sort of tackled. It's something I would also leave as well. Wheel arches looking good, no major issue there. We've still got the original number plates and the original exhaust as well by the looks of things. There's my sticker, nice, happy to see that. And in the back, nice and clean. Ah, we've got a set of original Proton mats as well. Winner, winner. Which I don't think the car had last time I was anywhere near it. So that's also good news. Door cards looking good. Ah, is that the RAC map of Great Britain? Oh no, it's the Q8 map. I remember these from being a kid. Excellent, lovely stuff in there. Well, I suppose the only thing to do is to really take it for a spin and ask Patrick, A, what he's done with the car, and B, if he still enjoys using it and what the future is for this lovely little Proton. Okay, so we are in the car with the owner, Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, John.
And his lovely good lady, Jess. Hello, in the back there. What's it like in the back?
Very weird. I'm used to being sat where Patrick sat.
There's not many people being back there, so that's a luxury.
Do you know what? Hardly any of these back seats have probably ever been sat in these cars, unless it's sort of grandkids and that sort of thing. The plan then is to take it for a spin, and you're going to tell us all about the car in your ownership. So Patrick, tell me about the car. How long have you had it now? About a year, did you say?
About a year, yeah, just over a year since we collected it.
And suppose my first question to you is, why?
I was starting to get into classic cars. I wasn't a car person to begin with, but after a spurt of modern cars, they were boring, they had no soul to them, and I wanted to start to get into cars, so I bought a 240, which I loved, but it broke every other week. And I was tired of it.
That's a Volvo, right?
Yeah, a Volvo 240. And then I met someone who had a Proton, sat in the passenger seat. We went to Manchester, and I loved it. And she was like, "There's another one come up for sale on the Proton group. message the person.
Buy it now.
Buy it now, essentially.
Before I do.
Yeah, before you do.
Okay, fine.
Because she already said John Coupland's already come to have a look at it. And I was like, okay, I'll message the person, say I'm interested. Let's just go get it. Give them the money. And that's so we went to all the way to Peterborough. Picked up the car while I was out fishing.
Okay, fine.
Exchanged it in a middle of a field.
Always the best way to buy a car.
Yeah. And then drove it all the way back from Peterborough back to Rotherham, where it's been staying.
So you're absolutely right. I did look at this car about a year ago. In fact, I've known the car for a few years. In fact, I'm going to take you to where the car lived, first and foremost. Because I don't think you know where that is. No, it's just round the corner in a roundabout way. And it lived in that shed barn for about 20 odd years before being fished out by the Banger Boys.
Yeah.
The Banger Boys then sort of salvaged it and thought, well, what are we going to do with it? And raffled it off to Clint, who you bought it from.
Yes.
Came from Boston, came from Cropley's Suzuki. Have you been there?
I have not been there, no.
Are you taking it there?
We might have a stop and have a picture.
Have a stop and have a picture on the way home. In the previous video where I drove it, I took it there, as you know, and had a good look around the car. One of the reasons that I didn't buy it, and I'm open and honest about this, is it's an aeroback.
Yep, you don't like aerobacks.
I don't like them.
You've made that statement every time you see a Proton.
I just don't like them. It's like I can't describe it, but there's a pothole, Lincolnshire. I just don't. They just don't tickle me. But this is driving really well. What have you had to do to it?
So there's been a few things with this car. We noticed when I got it back that the tyres were on original 1994 ones from factory.
Safe.
I sort of realised very quickly when the car was shaking in an unusual way.
Yes.
And then we looked at the date code and was like, oh, those don't have a date code, they're pre-date codes. And then found out it was from 94, from basically the factory.
Yes.
So we got them swapped out for some softer, newer tyres.
Yep.
And then later on, the car started to run rough. It just wasn't getting fuel properly.
Okay.
So we took the injectors out and realised there's like rusty sand coming through the injectors, and they're blocked. So following that back, we looked at underneath the car and realised the fuel tank was now a balloon. I didn't realise at the time because I was so excited for the car.
Yes.
So I never looked in the boot, which I probably should have done going forward when I'm buying cars. Look everywhere.
Some of the best cars I've ever bought have been over a telephone, so you're okay without even seeing it. So it wasn't running right. You've had to replace the injectors. Done the fuel tank. Why had it ballooned?
So from what I understand from the garages who I've spoken to, fuel sits for 20 years, I guess, in a garage, causes to break down, and it causes essentially to build gases up in the tank. Yeah. And if your vent doesn't work or gets blocked because the tank was all rusty inside, then that pressure has to go somewhere.
Okay.
So essentially, it ballooned the tank because there was nowhere for the pressure to build.
Yep.
And then eventually it must have released before it went terminal.
So well done on spotting that. How did you spot that?
Again, just running rough, and we looked underneath. I opened the little wooden sort of shelf in the aerobacks. And realised the boot wasn't flat nor round where the wheel should be, and was looking at me, pointing upwards. And I was like, I see my problem.
Yes. So replace the injectors, replace the fuel tank. Yeah. What else have you had to do to the car?
So the throttle position sensor, I noticed there was some jerking at low idle, where you had to put more revs in it for it to go. So I looked back at the throttle position sensor. A nice man in Malaysia told me, as long as it shows 5 volts on a multimeter, that is the sensor, that's what they run off, 5 volts. So if it's showing 5 volts on a multimeter, it's set correctly. If it's any less than that, the ECU won't know where the throttle position is. So it's closing or opening too early. So I adjusted it, so you open up the throttle a little bit, adjust it till the multimeter says 5. So it shows 5 volts, and then tighten it, and then let go. And since then, smooth.
So this is your daily driver?
It was.
Oh.
We have recently got something a bit more daily-ish driving. because I realise how special this car is, and I don't want to ruin it by driving it so much to the point where it's going to need so much work and go. I want to keep and enjoy this for many, many years.
Okay.
So we drive it to car shows now, and John Coupland, and around Boston where it's lived its life early on.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you've brought it back for me to have a spin. I must admit, I'm not necessarily driving it the way I would drive it if it was my own car, because I don't want to damage your car and I want to be respectful, and I'm not driving it like a lunatic, but it does feel more responsive. The ride is nice. There's a few rattles and knocks and bangs, but hey, it's a 30-year-old car that was sold for $7,000 brand new. I could tell that you've put new tyres on it, which is also good. So what is the response to this car when you are driving it around? You say Rotherham?
Rotherham, yeah. Everyone loves it. I've pulled into fuel stations. They've said that's cooler than the Bugattis and Ferraris we've seen in the area. The response is, we love this car. I've never seen one in my person, or the response is, what is this? We've never seen this before. And then you give them an education, like, this is the coolest thing we've seen today, because they're just that rare.
Nice.
You don't see them every day. People who are born now and are turning 18 wouldn't have been around when these were driving.
No.
So the fact that we're getting that good of a response and people are absolutely loving clear left, they just love it, and I can't fault it. It's been, even with all the issues with the fuel tank, the injectors, it never stopped running. It pushed through it and it just did it.
Running rough, but still running.
Yeah.
Jess, my question for you.
Yes.
What do you reckon to the Proton?
Seeing as I was somebody who had never heard of a Proton, the only reason I knew of a Proton was because originally my best friend Chloe had a Proton, the one that was mentioned in the video earlier, and then obviously I met Patrick with a Proton. At first, when I first saw a Proton, I was like, what is this hunk of junk?
What is it?
I've never heard of this car. It looks like something that shouldn't be on the road. But since being a passenger in it, I've actually come to grow to love it a little bit, even though I'm not really a car person.
Well, you might be thinking, where are we? And why have we come here to this random dead-end street? This is where your Proton lived.
Wow.
For most of its life. In fact, the barn loft area in front of us has been converted now. But this is where it lived.
Wow.
I've never brought it here, so
this is awesome to see, the fact that this is where its life was.
It's been returned home. We can't go inside because it's now someone's house.
Yep.
And it's been converted, but it was like a pigeony, lofty barn area, and this is where the original owner lived.
Wow.
So I thought I'd bring you there.
Thank you.
So being in the back then, Jess, and being as a passenger in the Proton, happy to be seen in it, or are you a little bit like that?
At first I was like that. I was very much like, why is everyone looking at us? It's just a car. But admittedly, I love the feeling of getting stared at as much as Patrick. And if we're driving down the motorway, I'll sometimes be like, oh, that person just checked you out. Oh, that person just checked you out. And he'll be like,
we even had people
what?
slam on their brakes. I saw someone doing 90 coming up behind me, and they just slammed on the brakes to stop and look at the car, and then zoomed back off again. And it's just awesome to see people go, whoa.
That's brilliant. So what I'm going to do is reverse out here. So we'll do this for nice and safe. So if you can clear me back.
You're clear on that side.
Yep, that's fine, because it's only a one-way street there. So as long as I don't run over anybody.
But if you do want to give it a bit of beans, I am giving you permission to do that now.
Okay, fine. We'll head to the usual test site. No, Jess, I think you're absolutely right. Life's too short to drive boring cars. And actually, whilst we were sat having a chat in my front room, somebody walked up to my driveway and just photographed the car, because they don't see it, and they're used to seeing Protons on my driveway. So the fact that somebody spotted it in Boston today is good. What's the plan with the car? What are you going to do with it, Patrick and Jess? What's the overall plan with the car in the future?
So I want to try and keep it as original as possible.
Yep.
I keep it to what it. I want to get to the point where it felt like it came off the showroom. Like I want it to feel like, oh, I've just bought a car for £7,000. What's my experience?
Yep.
And so the next bit I'm going to tackle is all the suspension bushes. I've done the drop links already, so you'll probably notice when doing left and right, it's a bit more sturdy.
It's tight.
It's tight.
Yeah.
So I've done them already, but I want to do all the bushes, everything. I want to put all new, paint all the drums, do all the the drum stuff at the back, and just try and get it back to as much as possible without damaging the car, back to what it would have been like driving it for the first time.
I'm really glad that you bought this car and not me. And I'll tell you for why. As you know, I've got a large car collection, large Proton collection, and they don't get driven as well as they should. I've got that many cars to keep on top of that actually the maintenance is not as good as somebody like yourself with this, who is cherishing it and enjoying it. So I'm really, really happy that you are protecting this car and enjoying it and giving it the love that it deserves. So mechanically, lots of work is going on in the background.
Yeah.
What's the plan show-wise? Are you taking it to many shows? Are you?
Yes. We're doing the festival of Unexceptional again, so everyone will get to see this car in person.
Excellent.
I want to go to Shedfest as well, because it's Festival of Sheds.
Is that the one that's Auto Alex?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So
does.
as much as they like high mileage cars, they also like these cars. And Auto Alex himself has driven this style Aeroback Proton before.
Has he?
Not this model, like not this reg, but another one, exactly the same package. Brown interior, Aeroback. He's driven one before, so I would love to get his opinion of this car and just share it for everyone.
Share it with everybody. And that's what I like about the fact that I'm singing about Protons, because a lot of people think these are terrible. Why do you like Protons? They were shit when they were new. Well, they were a budget car, but if people like yourself and myself and other people that have got Protons, there's quite a few in the community, Steph from iDriver Classic for example, if they're not looked after, they will all disappear. So you're doing the Lord's work, sir. Thank you very much for keeping this Proton on the road. And I'm happy, genuinely, that Jess is also a fan, and he's got your thumbs up as well. The artist formerly known as Mrs. John Coupland would not be seen dead in a Proton. She didn't like the Protons, and the moral of the story is I need to find a Jess.
Considering I'm not automatically a car person, I was somebody who was at first very much like, I don't want to go to car shows, it's not my thing. I do get the little, as much as I hate to admit it, and I know Patrick will smile here, I do get a little bit of a buzz whenever we go and people are like, oh my god, it's the Pro, and I'm like, yeah, that's our car, look at us.
That's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Big.
It's also the fact that I enjoy seeing Patrick in his element, whereas I can enjoy something like musicals, he enjoys cars, and seeing him being proud of a car, going to car shows and meeting other people through car shows and seeing him just be himself makes me happy.
Ah, that's deep and meaningful on the channel. No, I get it. I absolutely get it, Jess. And I'm smiling like a Cheshire cat, not only because I'm driving a Proton through Lincolnshire's finest back roads, which is one of my favourite pastimes, but to hear you speak so passionately and openly about that, it's really nice as well. Oh no, he's thrown some mud on you. I'm sorry. You'll definitely be going home and giving it a clean.
Yeah.
We'll take it to the usual testing ground then, which is a few windy, windy back roads, but it is driving really nicely.
And it made me smile when I got it running the way it is now. The relief and just the smile, it brought it back. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated, as you do when you're working in cars.
Yeah.
You get frustrated and you feel like you're losing the passion for it. And then once I got it working and I took the time and research, and trust me with Protons, there's not many people to ask questions to. So doing the research, finding YouTubers like John when his dad's working on the car, and you while John's talking, you're sort of looking at what his dad's doing in the background to sort of figure out, ooh, he did something correct there. What did he do?
I'm glad you've noticeably worked out the fact that I'm not a mechanic, right? I know nothing about car. I know basics. Dad's the expert. And we've had to sort of learn as we go.
Yeah.
But that's what I enjoy doing as well. Oh my goodness, we've got a skip Suzuki slalom. Okay, good. Hi Sam, by the way. Sam's building his house.
But yeah, I wasn't a mechanic. I had no knowledge of cars before starting this. And sometimes it can be frustrating with how they place things in the Protons. They are relatively easy to work on. Better than most cars, to be fair, I've looked at and tried to do stuff on. Everything's accessible, everything's in a way that makes sense. There is a little bits of knowledge still out there if you need that little bit of help. But once you do get it right, it brings a smile to your face. It just works so well.
And whilst you've been talking and that about all that, and I wasn't paying any attention because I was trying not to crash, I've been throwing it around these Lincolnshire back road corners, and it handles so nicely. It is literally point and go, and I think that is genuinely an absolute testament to the Mitsubishi underpinnings of these cars. There's no Lotus element to the old early Protons, and actually if you've watched me drive a GTI, it is point and go, same with the Impian, but it handles so well. There's no major knocks and bangs, and we're doing, you know, sort of 60 on a Lincolnshire back road. It's driving nicely.
And I noticed a massive improvement, especially the drop links. If anyone does have a Proton, I would recommend replacing those, because it generally does make the feel so much better. And they just go, like the engine on this, we open the oil cap and it's just mint silver inside. There's no oil staining, there's no, as you would get with a high mileage engine. It was just so nice, and I knew it needed the love to get it back to where it should have been.
I am really, really happy that you've let me do a follow-up video on the car, let me drive it through the roads that it would have driven on, but also hear your story. And I think, to be fair, the main takeaway from me is the nice things that Jess said. Hashtag emotion. But it's really nice that you've taken this car. You've clearly not bought it to abuse it, which is good. You've clearly done a lot of work and a lot of research and are really passionate about the car. And it's people like yourself that we need in not only the, I say classic car, retro car, vintage car community in general, that are going to enjoy it and just love it and do it for the right reasons.
There's just something special that I've driven lots of cars. Thanks to my career and people I know, I've been able to drive some cars that I would have never imagined to do, like there's an R30 Skyline.
Wow!
So
any jobs going?
From the car show we went
it's from
to.
a car show. We met someone who was like, he wants to drive the Proton. I was like, can we switch?
We'll swap.
And I got to drive it, and it put a smile on my face. But at the end of the day, I missed driving the Proton. There's something about how this car feels, how it makes you feel, that I've just not had from other cars.
How does it make you feel?
Just happy. Like you hear it chugging along. I know it's reliable. I don't have to worry about it. Now I've got it to a position where I don't have to worry about it. I just need to do the oil service. I have the brakes work.
Brakes work well.
I have also refurbished the calipers on this as well.
Okay.
So they've had new pistons, all re-greased, all redone and put back together. So the calipers were sticking before, so that's done. That's a common thing with the Protons when they sit. And there's just little bits. I've done the timing belt because we took it off.
You've done the belt.
And I've done the belt, and it was split. I was very lucky. If I left it any later than I would have, this engine wouldn't be in this car.
You'd be doing an engine rebuild.
Yes, but thankfully we changed it just in time, and as it was starting to split all the way through.
I'm really happy to hear that, because that would have been, for many people, good night Vienna on these cars.
It's had a water pump, even though it didn't need it.
No.
The water pump span freely. There was no weird sounding to it.
While you're there,
you may as well.
Yeah.
The only thing I started to hear from the engine bay is the pulley for the alternator.
Yep.
Which is, again, it's common, it's sat. But you can still get the alternators. They're just a standard.
Is it the alternator pulley, or is it the fact that the battery might be?
It's got a brand new battery.
Right.
So it's not the battery.
Okay.
When
I was hoping for a quick fix there.
No, when you
the
spray,
battery was working overtime.
If you spray the alternator with WD-40, the sound stops.
Okay.
So I know it's something that you can sort of hear it, sort of around here, but it's fine. You can send yours off and get a new one back that's been refurbished, exchange. It goes straight back on the car. It's not hard to do. There's like two bolts, the belt, back on, belt back on, done. It's not a hard job. I have found out with this car, you do have to adjust the power steering belt every so often.
Does it squeal else?
Yes.
Or,
So it'll just randomly decide to squeal. and you have to keep adjusting it every so often.
What I just want to do before we end this video is just take this car to its natural habitat. This is a bit of a pilgrimage of mine.
Okay.
We normally come here
Yeah.
when we're on road tests. It's the garden centre. Da, 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 da. Let's see what we can see in the garden centre, because historically this is where this car would have lived its life.
Yep.
Is that a Honda Jazz?
It is.
Good spot. Toyota Yaris, good spot.
Yep. All the.
We've got to play the game of what would we normally see at the garden centre.
207s.
So yeah, I've just thought I'd take you past the garden centre.
Yep. More Peugeots.
It drives really nicely at speed and low speed as well now.
Yeah, the low speed is what I'd wanted to fix because it's the most frustrating, and it's a lot more taxing on the clutch because you're having to use the clutch more to get the car going.
To control that idle.
And control that idle, which you don't want to burn through your clutch on this, because I've heard it's not an easy job to do the clutches on Protons.
I've never done one, thankfully.
And I don't want to find out.
Do you know what? There was nothing too exciting in the garden centre.
No, there's nothing cool. Just an old Micra, modern cars. But that's how it is, sadly, at the moment. I'm seeing a lot less classics and a lot more modern, and it's very sad. Where you could just drive and see loads of classic cars about now. It's rare to find one.
So you're heading to a show tomorrow?
Yes.
What are you going to be doing to prep the car for the show? Is it a buffed within the inch of its life sort of girl? Or?
No, just a quick wash, wax, make sure she's clean. I don't, like we talked about quickly in the house, we have to be careful with the paint on this, clear from that.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, we have to be careful with the paint, because Japanese paint is notoriously
thin.
One dip, go.
Yeah.
It's thin. And so if you buff it, there might not be left to buff, and you might end up going too far.
Yes, the lacquer is notoriously thin on these cars because, as I say, they were built to a budget.
Yeah. You won't dip a car 3-4 times when you're on a budget.
So show days tomorrow.
Show days tomorrow.
She's the show girl.
She is the show car.
She's the show girl.
Because we get people looking at Melanie more than we've got people looking at S14s and S2000s and modified cars, and people take more pictures of this and they go Proton, and they're more excited for this car than they are for a GTR they've seen 1,000 times.
You've just dropped the name Melanie into the mix. The car is called Melanie.
Yes.
Yep.
Why?
It was an M-Reg, and we liked the sort of meme that, oh, Melanie, she was really nice. and so we thought, perfect name for this car,
Brilliant.
Melanie, because she is really nice.
Excellent.
And we just thought it fit quick with the M-Reg as well. It just matched. I did call it Todd for a tiny little bit. I was like, it doesn't feel like a Todd. It feels like a Melanie. It's not a big Volvo, which you typically call Todd or something like Victor or something like that. And yeah, Melanie fit.
Melanie.
And we
I
call
like
it Melanie.
that. Good. Well, thank you for letting me drive Melanie today. It's been wonderful, and it's so nice to see, and like I've said multiple times, that she's getting the love that she deserves. She's not sat in a barn somewhere near the river.
Nope.
That she's not gone round a Banger Racers oval, and that you and Jess and everyone else in the local area, because you've got your own little car community that I sort of follow on Facebook as well with the Protons, are keeping her on the road.
And that's what it's about. You know, we don't want to abuse and use her to an inch of her life and then throw her away. You know, she's here to stay. She's here to be looked after. And I just want to get mechanically back. You know, we'll fix the squeaks and the little wobbles and stuff if we can. It's a 30-year-old car. They do that.
They do that. They do that. They absolutely do.
The Volvo was notoriously bad, the 240, for shaking, and the drive wasn't as good. And the rest of the 240s don't drive very well. They're all over the road. Even when you sort the suspension, high speed, they wobble. They're just not as nice to drive.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed driving Melanie. Thanks for bringing her. And I'm so glad that you have given it a home. Really am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. No, drives really well. There it is then, an enjoyable ride in Melanie this afternoon around the Lincolnshire back roads. Thanks to Patrick and Jess for bringing her to come back to her spiritual home, not with me, John Coupland, but Boston as well. In fact, actually, they had to come and get their parcel shelf because they've been pestering me for about a year for it. That's my fault, I'm sorry, because I'm terrible at keeping appointments. Anyway, what did you reckon to the little drive around the countryside? Great to hear that the car is in good hands and that will hopefully be on the road for many years to come. Got a nice soppy story with Jess as well, and Patrick. I'm going to leave you with the thought that maybe Protons are the key to finding true love. Who knows? Didn't work for me, did it? Anyway, until next time, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, do all the usual nonsense in the comments down below. If you see Melanie and Patrick and Jess at car shows, give them a wave or on the road or at a forecourt, and tell them John Coupland sent you. Until next time, have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you later. There are so many more Proton related videos on the channel, and I've actually selected a couple that I think you might like here on this page. Give them a click to watch them now. Don't forget to subscribe for more Proton fun and lots more videos coming soon.